Thank you for that wonderful discussion around welcome. What warm words. And what a true lovely lure into the church we had with the colourful ribbons from all directions. Thank you to all the enactors of Marissa and the Timmy story. Isn't it great how simplicity is best? In the reading it said, it's best to start small. Give a cool cup of water to someone who is thirsty, for instance. The smallest act of giving or receiving makes you a true apprentice. You won't lose out on a thing. Or as Joe said to Nadine, welcome is when someone is pleased to see you. Now I'd like to sincerely apologise to those who had the misfortune to have me as their fake welcome committee delegate today, as I tested you and likely made you feel the opposite of welcome. So even Trish and Mark, who know that they are always welcome here, may have felt a little startled to be asked if they knew the Lord's Prayer and could name all the big four of the New Testament, almost like a pre-qualification test to come into church. Of course we know there is no such thing. Hopefully, the other committee delegates did a much better job. Even John's grumpy silence was better than my testing approach. Nadine may have been slightly too fussing, as she always is, but perhaps you preferred Lucy's silent smile. There is a great range of welcome available. Taking care in how we welcome one another does make a difference. The main thing is, you are all so very welcome here in St. Mary's Church. And I mean you, each of you. That is really important, that you are bringing yourself here. Whether with tentative curiosity, devout, long-standing faith, studious interest, or a basic affinity towards members in your community. We may not always have the ribbons and banners proclaiming welcome, but as you know, Sally and Nadine, Matthew, everyone tries to make you feel welcome here. When I think about a warm welcome, my grandmother comes to mind. Stood outside her house, both arms in the air, the biggest smile on her face. Yeah, you are! Now, of course, that was her duty as besotted grandmother, but she did it so deliciously, therapeutically well. She could recharge your self-esteem tank in an instant. Sometimes, when I hear the words, God loves you and God truly knows you, I'm reminded of that feeling from her, that confidence. And yet another grandmother taught me you don't have to know a person to make them feel welcome. While we were out in Ethiopia, a local friend of ours insisted we stop off at his 94-year-old grandmother's house on the way to Addis Ababa. He couldn't come with us, but gave our driver good directions, and clearly his grandmother too, as we were welcomed like royalty into the mud and corrugated iron hut. And we sat round in a circle, only really able to smile. The grandmother spoke no English, and even less of the main administrative language in Ethiopia, Amharic, than I had managed to learn by that stage. My Oromo, her local dialect, was almost non-existent. I had only practiced one sentence successfully over and over again. Melaku Melkam Guadenya Nu. Your grandson Melaku is a wonderful friend. I wish I had been more studious and also been able to add, he has brought me so much closer to God again. I'm very thankful. I'll never know whether she understood what I said, but hopefully my body language and smile and tone delivered all that was needed to reciprocate her own kindness through simple gestures. No words, just human interaction and respectful trust in each other. Perhaps that's where I benefited from my grandmother's approach. I could recognize the intentions instantly. And to me, that is what the first part of the reading is all about. Anyone who accepts what you do accepts me, the one who sent you. Anyone who accepts what I do accepts my Father who sent me. Accepting a messenger of God is as good as being God's messenger. Accepting someone's help is as good as giving someone help. We benefit from the knowledge of a warm welcome, and perhaps this gives us the best ability to be welcoming. So always refresh yourself how warm and welcoming God's love is. You are welcome right here, exactly how you are. Knowing that, can you make someone else feel it too? Will it be a joy? And of course, the better role model of warm welcome I should have used is Jesus himself. Perhaps we should pass the microphone round again and hear of all the times we know of when he made people feel welcome. Makes you wonder whether all the counters were recorded. Jesus makes us feel welcome when we read the New Testament and also emphasizes God's love outlined in the Old Testament. Of course, there is also warning in Matthew 10. This is a large work I've called you into. No denying of the challenge. But then follows the reassurance. But don't be overwhelmed by it. It's best to start small. And indeed, this is actually an echo of verses 5 to 6. Don't begin by traveling to some far-off place to convert unbelievers. And don't try to be dramatic by tackling some public enemy. Go to the lost, confused people right here in the neighborhood. So when we feel overwhelmed by the challenge, perhaps we need to look for more achievable ones. Another part of Matthew 10, just before today's reading, in verse 12 to 14, is when you knock on a door, be courteous in your greeting. If they welcome you, be gentle in your conversation. If they don't welcome you, quietly withdraw. I think this is a reminder that our prejudice, as we mentioned in our prayers of sorry this morning, our prejudices should be innocent until proven guilty, positive, but acknowledge that there may be times that right first approach may be inappropriate. So it is important to note Jesus' tone of care for his disciples and each of us. Quietly withdraw. Look after yourself. I do feel Matthew 10 is wonderfully augmented by Luke 10 in the Mary and Martha story, where you have Martha diligently and generously tending to all the chores to ensure their guest will be fed and well looked after, while Mary abandons all thought of doing anything other than listen to Jesus. The discrepancy irritates Martha, and she appeals to Jesus, "How is this fair?" And he arguably startles us as much as virtuous Martha herself by saying, Mary is on the right path, has identified the key priority is making time for our faith, effectively welcoming the Spirit into their lives. Hence choosing Vermeer's painting of Mary and Martha, which I think wonderfully expresses each of the three persons' perspectives and illustrates the power of listening as part of Mary's welcome. We can all relate to Martha, how difficult it is to forget about chores, but prioritizing another person and making time for listening is ultimately far more rewarding. And I'd just like to finish off with another welcome story. When we researched local primary schools for accessibility, the head teacher at Aston Clinton was our 5th meeting of its kind. As we walked around, she pointed out a few adjustments that would need to be made for the wheelchair, prompting me to clumsily apologize. She pulled me up on it straight away. No, don't be sorry. Never forget, everything we do to make the box bigger for your daughter to fit it makes someone else feel more comfortable too. What a fantastic approach to inclusivity. She actually had me in tears later on, but it was just so moving for me. It's not about the awkwardness of adjusting to welcome yet another set of requirements in, but about creating a world where everyone is comfortable and everyone feels welcome. I think that's what Jesus taught us so well, that warm welcome to all. He may not have thrown his arms up into the air nor shouted, "There you are!" But I think Zacchaeus, Mary Magdalene, and the leper, many more, will have felt their self-esteem tank recharged by his inclusive approach. Let us replicate that where we can. Sometimes we won't succeed. But as the reading said, it is being part of that same welcoming committee as Jesus and his disciples demonstrated, do as I do, setting that inclusive tone of respect, making someone feel as welcome as you are in God's love. That is never wasted. You won't lose out on a thing. So I wish you joy in your welcomes, both creating and feeling them. Please remain.
Yesterday, Paul and I and Matthew and Andrea and Digby and Marion went to Christchurch to see Michelle be ordained deacon, so that was a wonderful thing to do. She will now have preached at 8 o'clock, 9:30 and 11 o'clock. So she was being put to work straight away this morning at Chalfont St. So she's at Chalfont St. Giles, and they have Sia Green and Jordan's with them. So be praying for her in the weeks ahead. We've got lots happening here. This afternoon, we've got our family fun afternoon, which I know some of you are going to be helping with, which is fantastic. Then next Sunday, there's a Wendover music concert. Is it 7:30, Edward? 7:30. And there are tickets available for that at Just. It's two groups of young, wonderful musicians coming to play. So please do come along to that. And then 2 weeks' time is when we've got our big event happening. I'm trying to... Sorry. I'm using my update from the phone, and there's one picture that I need to be able to tell you all the things that we need. Why can't I? So... Anyhow, so the wedding dresses celebration, 2 weeks' time. There's a preview on Friday night and then Saturday and Sunday. We need lots of people to volunteer to welcome people and to sort of show people around, be selling raffle tickets and things between 10 and 6 on the Saturday and 12 and 3 on the Sunday. Veronica Lockett is organising that group of people. So you can write your name on the notice board or you can be in touch with her. And then we need people to make cakes, scones, lots of lovely things for people to be able to eat, to make tea and coffee. And Bridget, who's gone off into the kitchen, is the one who's organising that. So please, if you're able to, can you help by supplying things and helping? There's also, we're looking for people who might take photographs during the day on Saturday and Sunday, people to help dismantle the dresses and window displays from about 5 on the Sunday, ready for Monday morning. It's said at 9 o'clock, wedding dresses and sparklers don't go together. So we will need to take everything down. So even if you can't do anything else, perhaps you could come along at 5 o'clock on Sunday to help do that. Then there is a list of the things, I found the picture that I was looking for. Items we need. Lots of cakes and scones, jam and clotted cream, the loan of a Polaroid camera and film, children's dressing up clothes, ideally with a wedding theme, a children's clothes rail, hat stands or kitchen roll holders. You may wonder what you need those for. Well, the next one tells you wedding hats and fascinators in all styles and colours. So what's going to be happening is there's going to be the wedding dresses all around the church with flower arrangements. Lots of them will be in the colour of the bouquets that the brides held. And then on the windowsills, there are going to be hats and veils and things like that, hence needing hat stands or kitchen roll holders. And then any wedding shoes, veils, tiaras. So go home and look in your cupboards. And if you're not already lending yours for the exhibition, then please do so. That would be great. So we're really hoping that this is going to be a great weekend with lots of people coming to visit church then. On the 22nd, we have the tea dance, which is 2 o'clock till 4 o'clock, and everybody's welcome to come along to that. I think I've said everything there. Just to, if you didn't see the update, you know that we, for a lot of years, St Michael's, I'm in the wrong place, so my brain is not really switched on this morning. St Mary's, we've given to other charities, sort of locally, nationally, and internationally. And the money that was accrued for 2022 is going to go to Youth Concern, who we have supported before in Aylesbury, and their work with young people who are really, really struggling or maybe homeless. St Philip's Church, Chapel Street in Salford, which is doing some amazing work with sex workers who are in that vicinity and helping people with food bank and all sorts of things like that. And then Tier Fund. And again, we've supported Tier Fund, but we want to support them further. They very much work for sort of global injustice and sustainability, very much thinking about care or creation. So we'll be sharing £4,000 between those charities for last year. If there's anything that you think we could be supporting with the money that will be sort of accrued, we're saying we're giving 2% of our giving, we're giving that away. So there'll then be the money for 2023 to be thinking about. I think we've got there. Thank you.